Hey, it's the Foster's After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we're breaking down Season 4, Episode 20, called Until Tomorrow, and here to help us do it is Peter Paige. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello. Welcome to the season finale. Oh my God. Guys, we got a special guest, Peter Paige. Thank you for being here.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Finally, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that you're all smiley and sway after that finale.
We have to tease everybody and think that it's exciting.
We'll unpack it, don't you?
Yeah.
As y'all know, Peter is one of the co-creators. He also directed this beautiful episode.
Thank you.
This terrifying episode.
Yes, good
This
job.
changing episode, possibly. Oh man, we have something to talk about. Let's do some intros. I'm Jeff from Masters1. No, that's my Twitter handle.
That's not your birth name?
I could have
That's going to start
sworn.
happening. I'm surprised it hasn't started happening. That people haven't started naming their kid like this is my kid at the Peter Paige.
You know they're the hashtag somewhere.
Yeah.
I am hashtag, but my name's also Jeffrey. Call me Jeff. Hannah?
I'm Hannah Prichard. I tweet from @TheHotShotDude.
I'm Jillian Leff. I tweet from @Jillian Leff, and you can chat with me, as always, using the hashtag ABTVFosters during the episode, or you can just tag me on Twitter. I will try to answer as many questions as possible.
And I'm Stephanie Giorgi. You can tweet me @StephanieGiorgi.
Awesome. And if you're watching live and want to contribute, have questions for Peter or any of us, Jillian's on the phone right now. Okay.
All right.
Okay. This
Oh, man.
episode
Was
it
like
had,
thug life.
It had that like slow build, which was underscored like the urgency of it with that score. I know we commented on the music before, but it's just
We
it's
have
there.
we have an incredible composer, Michael Brook, who is like a world-class cinema composer. He just is an extraordinary musician. He had so much to the show. He did Brooklyn, like he's a big deal. He did Perks of Being a Wallflower, like he's a big deal composer. And
Bradley would mention that last time that he's so happy to have him.
He's
on the show.
and he just does an incredible job for us, and we have an incredible music supervisor, so all our music selections are really on point, and it's a real privilege.
Just the song selection. Yeah.
And I also liked how this episode went from day to night, light to dark.
Right.
I noticed that immediately, especially when we heard the thunder when Lena was speaking, and I obviously saw from the preview that the rain was going to be outside. So not only did the drama build in the episode, but also the atmosphere build. And I don't know if that was that a choice, because the colors changed too.
Right.
Yes, everything's a choice. The rain wasn't necessarily a choice. That was God's choice. But we had no choice but to shoot in the rain. It was a rough night, and props to all the actors and those unbelievable background people who joined us for hours and hours and hours standing outside in the rain.
Oh my
But everything else around that, around the light to the dark, and all of those pieces of it were, of course.
Oh, the rain was
Decided.
perfect.
Yeah, I think it worked in your favor.
I know. I agree.
Because it was like,
Awesome.
It was kind of more dramatic.
It
Like I felt
was.
like seeing them all soaking wet. Like
Yeah.
when we panned outside and we saw that they were all like that, and then Jesus running away. I don't know, that for me sort of made it. Like so I'm
Yeah.
happy
Agreed.
that it worked out that
I'm not
way.
going to disagree with you.
Wait, so you see that it's going to rain on the day you're shooting. How much warning do you have?
You know, how much warning do you have it's going to rain? You don't know. I mean, the problem is when you shoot a show on a schedule like ours with a budget like ours, you can't just go like, oh, we're not going to do that today.
Right.
Sometimes you can go like, oh, we can go to the studio today, tomorrow we'll come back. We're doing the finale. Like we were done. We didn't have any choice. It was like, it's raining, we're going to shoot.
I guess
so
I'm surprised
buckle
you were
up,
able
everybody.
to like, change that quickly, though.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like it's not a different color. You know, it's like things get wet.
Yeah, things get wet, and you got to track it, and you got to think about, for example, like there's no real thunder when Lena is walking up to the mic. We add the thunder. There's the sound of raindrops in the subsequent scene, so you believe it's still raining, even though it wasn't. We added some light raindrops in the van when Callie and Diamond are driving around with Russell, and we carry that through, into the premiere. So.
Wow, I didn't realize until Jillian said it that this was one day in their lives. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
it was a good
fascinating.
day.
And well, I
Was
don't know
it a
about
good
good. It was a
day?
big day. I don't know about a good day, but
It was a
yeah.
big day. You're right. Not a good day, but it was just, I don't, there was something about it being just a full day. Just, when is it going to end? And it end with, yikes, I don't know. It was just a lot.
Yeah, and so this is going to be a big change for the show. We're going to obviously deal with Callie, but even if she doesn't stay with Russell for 3 seasons, even
there.
even if she stays just a couple episodes, there is that trauma and like
Yes.
dealing with that is crazy. This is a really heavy storyline.
Yeah. So I think it's the darkest thing we've ever done on the show.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Was there any like talking to the network of like how far we're able to go, or they just trust you by now?
They're pretty great. They're pretty supportive, and they, you know, Freeform, you know, by rebranding, that sort of emboldened them even further. And there's been almost no pushback from them ever. I mean, they're really on board with the stories we want to tell and how we want to tell them, and they're, you know, their notes are like, you know, look at this one little moment here, or does, you know, can we remember that this is still going on? I mean, that's it. They're all on board.
Wow, I guess you
great.
don't also greenlight. You don't greenlight a show like this if you're going to micromanage it.
True.
You know, they kind of know what to expect.
Yes, I think I don't know about the micromanager not part of it, but certainly this is the show we promised them, and this is the show we, you know, deliver. So
It's just like human trafficking for children.
It was already dark enough before Callie was in it, and now I'm like, whoa, whew. I like couldn't really talk after we finished this. Like coming in here, I was like, I don't even know what I'm gonna say. I'm kind of like speechless about this.
yeah, it's rough. It gets me. I mean, it still chokes me up. I mean, I wrote it, I directed it, and I cut it. I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it a billion times. And when you guys were watching it, I was watching over shoulder shaking. You know.
I had like a lump in my like right there. You know, when you like swallow something too big and it just like sits, and I still have it now. And I just wonder, and a lot of Twitter is wondering, and I don't know if you can answer this question, or maybe you don't want to, but everyone is really hoping, are we going to see a resolution in the beginning of season 5?
I will say only this. I promise you that season 5 will not be as relentlessly dark as this episode was.
Okay.
Cool.
Obviously, we have to pick things up, and there's stuff that there are big problems that have to be solved. But there's something happens here that changes a lot of things, including Callie. So.
Wow.
Well, I noticed too in the room, because I think that it's important for us to see the other side of things. You know, we're introduced to Diamond's story, and we can empathize with her.
How amazing is Hope?
She
Incredible.
is wonderful.
So
She's bonkers, and the loveliest human being. We've been so lucky to have her, so grateful to have her as a part of our world.
Her scenes with Steph are probably some of our favorites from this season, when she like really goes there. I mean, she goes there every time, but when she really goes there, and to sort of see a window into the other side of things now, to have Callie, I think it's scary, but it's also important, because as a viewer, I'm craving that.
Here's the thing. It's real. I mean, that's the thing, that some unbelievable percentage of foster kids end up getting sex trafficked. I mean, like 50%. Like, it's a crazy number. And it's a lot of them are perfectly smart and perfectly capable, like Callie is. These people are masterminds at manipulating and capitalizing on people who feel unmoored, who feel like they don't have family, I know Callie does, but and that may ultimately be the thing that saves her. But I mean, it is, we were like, let's do it. Let's tell the truth of how this happens.
Yeah. And like you're saying too, Hope, who plays Diamond, just like trying to convince Christina or Callie that like, no, really, we can get you a record deal. That it's a bold-faced lie that no one's believing, but she so firmly was going with it. No, seriously, I need something.
She was. I loved seeing her scared, because it's not that she believed it. She's like, I don't care. I need to tell you whatever you're gonna hear, so your ass can come with me, so I don't die. And that's what her ass still got. She still got knocked on the head right when she walked in. Oh gosh. You know, she's not in a good place, but it just goes to show like she had the opportunity, but that's how scared you are to still go into it and to bring this girl that you know has nothing to do with anything. But you're gonna do it anyways.
I love that shot, by the way, that slow-mo shot where she comes out of the van and we just follow them, and all of a sudden, whap, he's there on her head, and you guys, all four of you went, oh! I was, it made me happy in a sick way.
As it should have though.
And it added too that we went from handheld, because I noticed that the camera all of a sudden got shifty, and we were moving with it, and the drama was just there. Like I felt like we were in the room, and that's terrifying.
That's exactly, that makes me super happy. That's exactly how as a director, I wanted you to feel. I wanted you to feel like you were in the room.
Bed, plops down, or like it was just.
I think what also like created that was just the fact that Callie was frozen and not speaking, and that was our reaction too.
And never
Just,
chose
like,
to look
waiting.
up. It was so great.
And I found myself just thinking like, don't say anything good, just stay like you know, kind of trying to advise her, because what do you do in that moment? And even she knows, as much as she thinks she knew a lot, not when Daddy's there because he scares you.
Yeah.
When she had to say daddy,
It's-
I know, me too.
It
Oh,
still makes me. I wrote it, and it makes me irate.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God, it made my
Daddy.
skin crawl.
Yeah.
Oh.
But again, it's all that stuff is based on truth. I mean, we met with
Yeah.
people. We met with people who work in the human trafficking department. That's where all the Steph and Margot stuff comes from. How they talk, what they value, how they do their work, how pimps work, how they get women into sex work. It's all based on reality. I mean, that's the
And what
heartbreaking
gets me
part.
so sad too is how they started so quickly with the scissor, with this cough syrup and Sprite,
Yes.
just to get them either one addicted or two already woozy. Let you loosen
Just
up.
chill her out. Just chill you out. Yeah.
But then
And-
you get stuck on that because you don't want to feel normal anymore.
And brainwashing purposes, like she's already using a different name and like calling this guy daddy. Like that's how it begins. Like they take away your identity completely. Jillian, what's Twitter saying?
So we actually have some really great responses. Anton Maslowski said, this episode feels like a chessboard that's frozen in time at the most suspenseful part.
Oh.
That's
was like-
lovely.
I will say this episode and the premiere, which I just finished shooting. I haven't even seen. I see my first cut of it tomorrow. It's a two-parter. It's so
great.
you know.
Do you direct that as well?
I did.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
And then the real Kayla said, this show keeps it so real and doesn't really censor anything, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the consensus. I mean, I feel like the viewers sort of expect the edge now, which is kind of exciting because I feel like sometimes when shows are on for 4 seasons, it can get monotonous and kind of boring, and you go with the ebbs and flows of these characters. But personally, I feel like, and I've said this a million times, but this show is like an escape every week.
Right.
I never know what I'm going to expect. We root for these people. You know, I don't know, it's like we've grown as a family together, and I feel like everybody that watches has grown to love them.
Yeah. And it always
I
feels
love that.
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It always feels genuine too, no
Yeah.
matter
Yeah.
what.
Especially because I love that we dealt with the younger they were, we dealt with those problems. But you're getting older and things are getting more real, and that's why we're living it with them.
It's sort of, it's funny. This may seem
not
like
kids
an insane
anymore.
comparison, but the Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
You know how
They
like the
get
first
realer
Harry Potter
and
book
realer.
is like a sweet little book with like where his problems are like I'm trying to get into a closet that doesn't open, but then like by the end he's like confronted with evil itself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just like that's what growing up is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never thought about it that way, but it makes a lot of sense.
Well, no, it's true, and I think that's the reason why you can stay stuck to the show, because it's not necessarily the same show, nor should it be.
Yeah. Yes, it can't be. It
Yeah.
can't be.
And just as like a creator, the premise of like foster care and foster kids has so much fodder for story. Did that surprise you as you were getting into the process? Like,
Absolutely.
researching more?
We didn't start. That's not where we started. We started with 2 moms.
Yeah.
But the second question with 2 moms is, well, how did they make their family? And we thought, well, one biological, that's interesting. Dad's still around, some baggage there, some strings, some challenges, And then we thought, okay, they've adopted some kids, and then let's bring in a new foster kid. And so we've got some kids who've had some time to heal and adjust, who got out of the system early, and then let's bring in some kids who haven't. And quite frankly, Callie's pretty well adjusted considering what she's been through.
Right.
Considering what she came to, episode 1 with.
Absolutely.
She actually has pulled it together pretty well. I think if we did a 100% authentic kind of exploration of what it is to be that girl who's been through that, I'm not sure we could take it. So I think I know people are like, damn it, Callie, and why don't you ever learn and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, because there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons
I
why.
think it's so sad because I feel like some people also, once you get used to it, your body almost not craves it. You do get stuck in a chaotic state of
Yes,
you
you
know?
create chaos because you
create
need it.
chaos. And
You
it's,
need it.
It's the
You-
calm before the storm, where I feel like when things are okay for her, I feel like she's not okay.
Yeah.
When everything's all right, she doesn't trust those moments.
Yeah.
She only trusts moments like being.
She's
with
had a
them.
few. She's had a few moments where she learned to trust it, but they have
Right.
been very short-lived, and
And
that's.
yeah.
I think that really is the nature of a human being like that.
And we see her making the same mistakes while also growing. Like last episode, she called Steph when she found the phone, and that's a very new Callie.
Right. Yeah.
Not-
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is absolute growth. There is. There are. We don't let Callie do anything that we can't make real sense of. Today, it's like Diamond feels like she's gonna die, and she convinces us, I will be killed if I don't go back and I don't bring a girl with me. I will be killed, and we know Callie doesn't, but we know that Russell has ghosted a girl before. We know that he's capable of this. So we don't have any reason not to, to feel like Diamond's just BSing us, right? And Callie has reached this point where she's like, I don't have anything to lose. I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
I lost. I gambled. I took a chance on somebody, and it blew up in my face. And nobody believes me because I've got a file this thick.
Right.
And the deck is so stacked against her. And so, I believe that to take care of this girl, to protect Christina, she's like, I'll go. My mom will come and get us.
Yeah.
I believe it. So.
And then that phone is in that dang bag.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Watching her drive by the motel.
Well, it's interesting because I remember back to the preview that the network showed last week where they showed Callie in a tank top
And
with
makeup,
makeup on.
with blue eyeshadow.
So is that something that we're going to see in the premiere?
That wasn't in the preview last week. That's in a picture that I tweeted from set.
Oh, then you tweeted. Oh.
That's a picture. That's a photograph that I tweeted from set.
Okay. Right. It was.
That's from the premiere.
From the premiere.
Yeah. That's all I'll say.
I hope we'll see. The thing that makes me so sad is and hopefully you won't make it this way. There's just no way Callie's gonna be around Russell without one thing, whether it's doing drugs, and I'm not talking about sipping on some scissor, or doing something with him physically. And that's what makes me so nervous, because that's real.
Yeah. And she's dealt with
that before.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm just it's one time is like one thing, but twice.
Can you talk as a filmmaker? I know like the feeling it creates, but I'm just curious about why. In terms of, for example, the scene with Callie and Jude, and they're having this really serious talk, and then we haven't seen a lot between them all season, but like we're getting this catch up, and it's this beautiful scene, this walk and talk on the beach, and it's just gorgeous, and it looks like the most beautiful like walk and talk in the world, except she's revealing that her life might be ruined.
She doesn't reveal that.
She doesn't.
If you think about the actual content of the scene, he asks her about it. What she tells him is what she believed before this morning.
Right.
What she tells him is what the lawyers were advising her to do in episode 19.
Yeah.
She doesn't tell him that she's saying a version of goodbye to him
Without giving the details.
without letting him know that's what's happening.
Oh, interesting.
Somebody tweeted she's exhibiting suicidal behavior, and I actually think there's something to that people when they've decided they're going to kill themselves, they get very calm and they put everyone around them at ease, and they say these kind of goodbyes. It happened to a friend of mine from college. His father came and took him out to lunch and told him he loved him, and he was like, I just had the best lunch with my dad I've ever had, and the next day he jumped off a bridge.
Oh my God.
And so, but Callie is doing that. It's exactly what she's exhibiting. But not because she's going to kill herself, but because she believes this kind of irreversible thing. Yeah.
So why just like choice-wise, if you don't mind saying, like, why set it in this like the most beautiful environment we could find near the school?
Because it would be, well, first of all, that is right out in front of the school. That is just, literally we were shooting in the school until 3 seconds before we started shooting that scene. I was running. We had like 10 minutes to shoot. I was running around screaming. I like, go, shoot, get off the beach, go, action. Like I just like a minute, because the sun's like setting behind. Like, and we know what we want, right? So it was bananas. But because I didn't want the episode to be so relentlessly bleak. Yeah. It was really important to me that we protect the Callie, in the face of this horror of this moment of like, I either have to take this deal or I'm taking a huge chance and I'm probably going to prison. Like, it's just in the face of that Callie is recognizing the beauty of her life. Right. That's what that scene in bed is about just looking around and just memorizing it and seeing Mariana in bed. That just Callie is recognizing, maybe for the first time, the beauty of her life, because it may be taken away from her.
Well, do you think singing with Brandon had anything to do with that as well?
Yeah, of course. That's exactly what it's about. It's that it's like, I need these moments, these things, my heart to heart with Jude, my connection with Brandon, my sisterhood with Mariana. Like, those are the things she's trying to lock in and feel. And
trying to leave with them, because she also said she doesn't want that last thought of her for that to be so like bad.
Yeah, she does. I mean, she's why she tells Steph, I don't want to tell everyone. I don't want everyone to be looking at me like all pitiful, and I just want to have my day.
Yeah.
Right.
I appreciate too that like none of the issues are trivialized. So we're dealing with prison and human trafficking, and we're also dealing with this conflict between Mariana and Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't tell me about this, and it's all of just importance, as it would be for the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This part I was dreading, and I knew it. I don't know why I feel for him so much, but I knew that this is how he's gonna feel. And it breaks my heart to see someone go through that, because like I said, we always think about the woman, and yes, it is our body and it's her choice, but at the end of the day, it's still a little bit of him.
Yeah.
And it sucks that he can't really say anything about it. And why wouldn't you tell me? And how frustrating. And then for Brandon to be in the mix of it, things like.
And I mean, do you fault Emma? I mean, the guy
not at all.
he couldn't read. He was,
Right.
I mean, he was in the thick of like recovering from this TBI. Like I wouldn't have told him.
Right. Which makes it hard to explain that to him, because that's also something that he had no control over as well, being in that accident, not being able
And he is-
to understand.
And he has also dreamt up in his mind the scenario already. And it's very hard to convince somebody of something when they have already decided that this is what it is.
Right.
And when he was going through the TBI, or when he was in a coma and he imagined Brandon and Emma hooking up, that was in his mind. And when he came out of it, he had still revisited that. And those feelings were there, and they were sort of buried. And I figured that it was going to come up again, because obviously that is like an amazing conflict there. But I thought that one of the most powerful parts of the entire situation there was Jesus saying to Mariana about her Twitter, I can't believe that you thought that I was stupid enough. Like, I'm not stupid. You're the stupid one.
Right.
After he went through
That
that
was
whole
so real.
conflict about how he's insecure with himself because he doesn't think that Emma is with him for his brain and all these things. And for him to finally say that, and for it to be sort of switched, I thought that was an important moment for him.
Well, we're all geniuses in different ways,
Yeah.
and that's something we really believe at the Fosters. I'm not kidding. You know, some people are book smart, some people are not, and I think Mariana and Jesus are two sides of the same coin. You know, she's incredibly book smart. She doesn't have the most common sense in the world, and he does.
Right.
He does have common sense. He is sort of street smart in a way that she just never has been, and you know, therein lies the problem.
He does so well in this episode. Like I was mentioning right before we started, when you just see Brandon and Emma talking, and the look on his face when he starts walking, it's like it attacked him, but also you could tell it was a trigger, because he created this irrational fantasy that Brandon and Emma. So it just became
how great is that
so
fake out
wonderful.
scene too at the beginning? You're
Oh,
like,
man.
what?
Yeah.
What? Shit, what? It's
Yeah,
Brandon's.
I know.
And then he wakes up. You're like, oh, thank God.
We were all very, very
No,
panicked.
because she said that, and I said no. I was like, no, that's
I
not
reject
it.
that.
Not
I
today.
reject that exactly. I
Wild.
reject that.
Yeah,
That's
no
what-
thanks. No thanks.
Steph, you thought from the beginning that Jesus would be mad?
Yes, because I could only imagine. Like he said, the first thing he keeps bringing up, I'm adopted. That you have an entire different view on life, on growing up, on babies, on people, and you know, especially going through your head, why did my mom and dad leave me? And if I ever had children, I would never do that. If I ever had, and at least I'm here. At least I have my mom's. Like why? The last thing in my mind was that he would be like, oh well, that's cool, good looking out. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes complete sense, but it just is not like the obvious choice that you make,
Right.
which is why it was so exciting to watch, because you say, oh, really? And oh, like it doesn't catch you off guard as, really?
But also because even though
Thank God.
Steph and Lena are not his biological mothers, he is still his mother's son. He's still a product of that family. There's no way he wouldn't have been hurt by it. And simply because of how Stephanie and Lena raised him. Right.
Well, I was speaking of the mamas, their reaction to when he
Oh.
and we were just like, you couldn't help but like giggle because
Right.
they were just,
Really?
Oh.
I don't know what to say to
like,
that.
wow. So
Yeah.
finally, you know, we have these two people that are like keeping a secret, and they're getting exactly what they want for their son to come to
Yes.
to them, which is like so wonderfully worked out.
There's a beautiful scene I had to cut for time of the two of them in bed later that night, and Steph just saying, I feel horrible. I feel horrible. Why didn't we tell him? We were afraid. We didn't want to deal with it, and we let our son down.
Well, at least they see that he went there. I mean, they had like a sense of happiness, and even Lena wanted to hear what they were gonna say. Again, this is like a product of what they've raised, and he showed very good example.
Yeah,
and I would be happy.
He's a good boy.
He's
Like
such a good boy.
he is a good boy. There's no doubt about it.
I think that their response, though, which was, how do you feel about it, is like revolutionary, honestly. Because every parent has a response. Like, they do, like, well, it was the right move, or like, how dare she, or something. But to ask the person who's dealing with it, how do they feel about it, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You know?
That's our moms.
Yeah.
And like that's calm. And then we fast forward to him finding out that basically everyone knew but him.
Yeah.
And that's also hurtful, yeah.
And
Not
then
everyone, but it seemed like it.
Yeah. And Brandon's is like the real blow, which I understand because everything else has just really upset him, and I felt like he was okay and willing to be patient with Emma to come to him, which I thought was wonderful to begin with, that he was like, no, I'm going to wait for her to come to me. That's incredible after all that brain trauma, and then to find out that and then be so cool. But then with Brandon, that's the one that, like, you know is going to hurt him the most and actually bring the anger out in him, because Brandon facilitated her to go and get the abortion. Not only did he know, but he went with her, and that has to be the thing that has to kill Jesus, because
he wanted to go with her.
Exactly. He would have wanted to be the one sitting there with her.
And because he had just asked him, like, have you ever gotten someone pregnant before? Like, the subject was around so much.
Yes.
And that's his big brother. Again, like I said, it's his, like, father figure, someone he looks up to, someone he wants to talk to, but was being...
Yeah. And of course it's dramatic, but there's a scene 5 years from now where Jesus says, in hindsight, I'm so glad that she had somebody
Absolutely.
to take her for and hold her hand.
Absolutely.
Did we know that Brandon took her before this?
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
We did? Okay,
We saw it.
yeah.
Yeah,
We saw it.
the waiting room.
We did. But
That was
Remember
the test.
at
You
Planned
passed. You
Parenthood?
passed.
Yeah.
It's okay, Jeff. Don't worry. We got you.
Oh, Planned
I
Parenthood,
hope
yeah.
he's able
that
to
logo.
explain, though, that he sees her buying the that's the only reason why,
Right.
And
I think, but I guess the moms then would have to, like, out themselves that they knew about it. But I feel like they would be able to talk to Jesus about understanding why Brandon took her. And they were proud of Brandon when he took her.
Yeah. They will eventually.
Yeah.
Oh my, you're
And
right.
he calls
so
Annie
sensitive.
Potts.
I know.
I know my only complaint about this episode was
We
that we
didn't
didn't
see
hear
her.
her or see her.
You heard her.
We
well,
heard her.
well,
We
for a
didn't-
second.
Yeah, you heard her, but you didn't see
We heard
her.
a little audio file, but I would have loved to see that conversation in person.
She's an expensive actress. It's cheaper that way.
She's also busy.
Yeah, she's very busy.
Whatever, sure.
No, that's what was
I
when we
know,
had
I know.
Bradley on. He was like, we would love to have her more.
Sure.
Yeah, she's wonderful. So I don't know. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that she was the one that told and owned up to it.
Right.
And it was just hard.
Yeah, everybody on the cast, all the main players have storylines that are meaty that go all season. Do you ever feel like, oh God, like why do so many? Like is it overwhelming?
I do most of the premieres. I direct a premiere or finale, and I write generally every premiere or finale. And that, because they're all colliding then.
Yeah.
I'm always like, my God, this is insane. But when you parse it out over the season, it's like, someone's story is cresting, someone's story we're just kind of carrying, you just kind of know it's still alive, like we weave it through. But when you get to the end, you want it all to come together. So yeah, they have a rough go of it. They have 5 teenagers. I mean, that's all you just have to remember. They have 5 teenagers. 1 is hard, 5 is bananas.
But crafting the stories, is that also overwhelming?
Sure. We have a really smart, team of people doing it. Joanna Johnson, who runs the show with Brad and I, she's a story machine. She's so brilliant. And so, I mean, just like devious beyond measure and plot twists coming out of her fingernails. Like she's so we're very, very lucky to have her as a part of the storytelling. I mean, she's
That's
invaluable.
that soap opera DNA.
So, it is. It is. It is. It's
There's a third twin.
We've had you and Brad on. We need to have her on.
You do need to have her on.
I need to
You do.
talk to her.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Wow.
Season 5, maybe.
Yeah. Not maybe.
She's actually I did the season 5 premiere. She's gonna do the 5A finale. So you guys should get her here for that.
Yeah.
That'll be a good episode for her.
We'll tell her
for
you had fun tonight.
I
hope.
Yeah.
Well, then we better get started.
Okay.
Hi. Hey.
Okay, let's talk about the other part of the Callie storyline with the court case. We saw Mike, Danny Nucci, stepping in. I love
Love
him.
it.
Love
I
it.
love it.
That's Daddy.
He's directing one too, isn't he?
He's directing right now.
Yeah.
As we speak, he is.
Yeah.
As we speak, literally, he is on stage with the cast right now. He's doing a great job.
That's exciting.
Awesome.
You guys keep it in the family.
You do.
That's
I
very
love
nice.
that.
Oh, a ton of the people who've directed have come out of the family. It's important to us.
Yeah.
And and honestly, the best episodes we've gotten delivered have been from people who kind of farm team. They because they really understand what we value, and they've seen it, that it's not, at the Fosters, like, you can't just shoot it like you shoot any teen TV show. You can't just throw a camera on it and wide, medium, close, and you're done with the scene. You gotta find the mess. You gotta find the humanity. You gotta find the business and the texture, because otherwise the show gets really arch and melodramatic. And if you get it grounded and you get it gritty and you get it messy, suddenly it's really human.
So do you talk to them beforehand?
Oh yeah, that's what prep is. I mean, it's a lot of us trying to explain to the directors what we value and how we need the stories told. But our cast is also amazing at it. They've gotten very good at kind of clawing it down.
Yeah. Going back to the scene, the walk and talk on the beach, is something like that scripted, that they're walking, talking on the beach? Okay, because it could have easily been like on a bench outside the school and like been less romantic.
Yes.
Okay.
And been less beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's life. There are 7 people in this one home. Life is, for this family, is messy and chaotic, and it moves. And so we sort of the rule of thumb around the Fosters is don't square off until you have to square off. Yeah, you'll notice even around the kitchen table, you'll notice that someone's always getting up and getting something.
Yes.
Someone's always refilling a plate or getting a glass of water or taking their dishes
Overlapping
to the sink, because that's what life is in a home, and it's so much more interesting and rich to have the chaos of that than to just be like,
oh, so when we get an impactful Lena speech, it's because we've earned like the silence or like the quiet and the stillness?
yes.
Oh, wow.
And that's why it's shot differently. I don't know if you noticed that. By the way, favorite shot in the whole episode.
Yeah,
Did you notice the
incredible,
microphone
yes.
shot?
I was going to tell you.
She literally said that. She's like, whoa.
I actually was just thinking 2 seconds ago. I was like, man, if I don't get a chance to tell him while we're doing this, I got to tell him when the show's over that was my favorite shot.
It's my favorite shot too.
Yeah,
I love it.
so
That her walking into focus. By the way,
Perfect.
it seems like it's slow-mo, but I actually just made her walk in slow motion. That's actually just Sherri doing a slow motion walk.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love her.
It was really, it's a great moment.
Sauntered up to the
But
not
that's
fixing
that's a different. I mean, I want that scene to feel different. I want that whole thing with the, with the parent board. It's shot completely differently than I shoot everything else on the show. It's symmetrical. The camera's still most of the time, or very, very steady. It's meant to be this kind of study. Honestly, this is now ready. I'm just like totally jerking myself off over here. Forgive me, but like I reference like Leni Riefenstahl's Nazi films, like her fascist propaganda films. In it, there's a shot where Lena's at the microphone and Drew and Stratos are sitting in the foreground, and the way that's structured, it's like a very famous kind of framing from Leni Riefenstahl. And like I wanted those scenes to feel different, to feel other, to feel like something was being taken away from us.
Right.
And I mean, that whole storyline is a big political statement about the current state of affairs.
Absolutely. I loved what the kids were chanting. Loved what they were chanting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Me too.
I wish I was there holding their hands, and I was like, good. And I'm happy that there was white kids in line with them, because that's not the point. The point is what's happening.
And
Yeah.
parents.
That $30,000
not
a
just
year.
kids.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because that's
adults.
ridiculous. And that's the whole reason why we're not okay, is because we don't have good education in regular public school systems.
Yeah.
So I thought that was wonderful. And can I just say that I'm happy that Mariana spoke out, because at the end of the day, what she went through was also trauma. And to see Mr. Stratos come
To
up
see her let
and-
Mr.
right?
Stratos have it a little bit was
No.
I was yes, I was all
too.
about that.
Her
Yes,
therapist
queen.
is going to be so proud when he
Yeah.
finds out.
I know.
Can we
She
have
owned it.
Can we have Lena speak Spanish in one of the future episodes? Because
Does the character
I
speak
just don't
Spanish?
know. It doesn't matter. She can teach. She can enlighten.
It's funny because Sherri speaks Spanish beautifully.
That's what I'm saying.
Lena doesn't speak Spanish though.
I know. But I wanted
Steph
to.
speaks Spanish, but Lena doesn't.
Oh right, she does. Oh god,
That is
I
so
just
funny.
saw one of her episodes, like on Telemundo or something. I was like,
Yeah.
Sherri! I was so excited. Sherri,
She
te
speaks
quiero.
Spanish to her babies.
I know. I love it. Te quiero, Sherri, con todo mi corazón.
I bet you actually she'll watch tonight.
So do we think that the storyline will wrap up with the school getting rid of the new principal and Monty like leading the way for Lena to step into principal?
Oh, I love it. Who knows? I don't.
I have
Drew
no
seems like
idea.
he's pretty smart. I don't think he's gonna just like let it go that quickly.
I promise you it's not going to wrap up any way you think it's going to wrap up. I'll tell you that right now.
Great.
And also, like, how fast does something like this happen?
They're cleaning house
You know-
essentially.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how, like, what is the time frame on this? Because I feel like also sometimes with the show, I lose sight a little bit of time. We always have trouble with like age. Well, we're like, how old
That's
is everybody?
good. We do that very, very intentionally.
And I'm like, wait, like this episode was easy. I was like, this was one day. Perfect. Like, I
Done.
nailed it. But I don't know, like how, right? I like felt relief. Because I'm
When
neurotic.
people ask us what year we're in, we're like, we're in 2017.
It's true.
It's smart with the teen drama.
You
Yeah.
can't. I mean, otherwise they'd all be at college. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Hayden would be in college. Like Jude would be in college. Like, so it is. It exists in its own universe, and you know, in and out of time.
Yeah. The most shocking part of the episode was seeing Hayden stand next to Callie, and he's taller than her now.
Oh God.
I was like, oh God, we're here.
That was
In the
right.
in the pilot, when he hugs her, he comes up to her boobs.
Right.
And now he's taller than she is.
God.
Now he's all the way. By the way, Noah is the only one who he's not as tall as. I was just having a conversation with Noah, David, and Hayden, and I was like, I'm 6'1". I'm not a short guy, and I was like, you are all as tall as I am. What is happening?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Our boys.
I don't know if this was intentional, but when Callie says, "Hey, do you want to go for a walk?" Jude had like a sense of happiness and like there was like he smiled like like surprised, but because he hasn't had this like moment with her, she hasn't reached out to him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It made me a little sad, but I was happy for him, and I'm happy that he was able to tell her like, you know, don't tell anybody, but you're like low-key my hero.
It's so cute.
I know that scene.
Right?
Guts me.
Yeah.
Guts me. And that song. Oh.
Right.
The song was. I saw Grace. Grace. She won America's Got Talent.
Grace
And,
Vanderwall.
Yes. Wonderful. Like she's gonna be. She was like compared to like Taylor Swift. She's like so quirky. She's quirkier than her.
Was that the
cooler.
singer?
Yeah, she's more like a cross between Taylor Swift and like Fiona Apple or something.
like
she's so much
Ingrid
edgier than
Michaelson
Ingrid Michaelson's very
like,
good.
That song was so beautiful, but we needed that moment.
The first time I heard that song, I was like, I want that song, and I want to use it for the Jude Callie scene on the beach. I was like, I hadn't even written the scene yet, and I knew that's what it was gonna be. I called my music supervisor. I was like, go get it now.
It was just, I feel like we, you know, we obviously saw some nice moments from Jude and Noah this season, but it was important, and I think it grounded Jude again because he was sort of off in his own universe
Well,
for a while.
Jude's the most hormonal of the kids. He's the one who's really like he's like still in the throes
He's
of
in the middle of
puberty,
it,
and like
exactly.
he's, you know, he's been a little dick. But that's what happens. Like people are like, I miss old Jude. I'm like, I miss Jude too. But that's what happens. You miss when your kid is 14, 15, you miss your old kid because your kid is a dick. That's just what it is.
True.
And so, you know, we wanted to honor that and tell that, and we still look for moments where he's his charming sweet self, but it was very much, this scene was about like, let's strip that away for a minute, let's get underneath it, let's have these two characters who are, you know, right at the center of everything reconnect. So
He's still him though. So that's what's so great, because that's, you know, that is something that you're like, oh, but whatever. And that's just so funny that you even mentioned it, because just recently I was telling someone how I personally miss being like with my family, like on a day where, you know, someone was watching TV, my mom was just cooking something, my sister was just on the phone, and I, you know, or me and my brother were fighting. Like that, days like that, you know, just so it's so funny. And I felt for Callie when she just looked around and her name on the wall, her room, her sister just sleeping there. Like she knows what Mariana looks like when she's sleeping.
That's so nice.
I'm sorry, but it's just,
Yeah.
right?
It's real moments.
It is real moments. That's why.
And
the
now
table
we live
saying-
here and we don't live near our families and we don't get that.
I do with the Fosters.
I know. You guys.
Okay, let's talk about Troy.
Yes.
We had the big confession.
Thank God.
let's mad props to that actor. He's such a great guy, and he just nailed that. He came up to me after the table read and he was like, it says in the script that I start crying, and I just want you to know that if it says it, sometimes I can't do it, and I can put a lot of pressure on myself. And I was like, you don't have to do anything. You just gotta surrender. You just gotta let it go.
Right.
I said, stay up all night, be exhausted, and just let it go. And that was his first take.
Oh
my
wow.
gosh.
Good for him.
It was so beautiful.
He was good
so
because
beautiful.
he was scaring me before a lot.
Yeah.
His aggression was just so real, and like even that window scene.
Yeah, the window scene.
Remember?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, Troy, relax. Like,
By the end of his confession, I actually felt for him a little bit.
me too.
Well, that's that's the Foster's way.
Yeah.
we rarely
true.
like a black and white,
Right.
villain.
I was
And then you remember that he nailed her with an axe. Because I felt for a second and I was like, but he still.
Yeah.
But the way
that
accident.
he did do a good job because I was still sad because I can imagine the act of swinging or even throwing a punch at a wall. That's normal.
Right.
And so it just sucks because I'm thinking, oh my God, but it hit her.
Exactly. Him being like, but I
Like
didn't
he was
think
just
it would
trying to
hit
be
her.
mad, like, oh, stupid grandma, and then
You know what I did like?
Did you
when
just make that pop noise?
I did.
That was impressive. I know it sounded like it came from another world. It sounded like a sound effect they put in.
Crazy.
When Mike, I really liked Mike's interaction with him because he said, you know, this has to be weighing on you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All these years you can't, like, it was just so, I don't know, like, I love Danny Nucci. I think he's done a fantastic job in this half of the season that we've seen him because he's gotten to do a lot of things with Anna and AJ and now this, and it's like, he is, like, my little hero on this show. Like, he comes in and he has his cape on and it's like, he's gonna do whatever he can to sort of make this family stay together. He roots for everybody, and it's just so nice because if we remember back, like, he has been through some shit. Like, he was drinking heavily and his life was a mess, and to see somebody turn their life around like that so
and to
much.
be the grounded one,
Yes, and to be the voice of reason when he was never considered that. It's just, like, very exciting to me. And even
Sobriety is an
exciting.
amazing thing.
It's just like, and the support, and it all has to do with the support, and I'm sure that that's how he feels, and all these people are supportive around him, and he's repaying them for all of the things that they've put up with and done, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed him this episode that Steph had to go deal with the diamond stuff, and he was like, I got this.
Just go. I love that Steph, when she even texted him, in my head, I'm like, that is still your man. Like, he's got you no matter what. That's a ride or die.
That's true.
You know, so it's just so impressive and so nice because he didn't have to be. He could have just been hurt, you know, but
Well, he was for a long
of
time.
course, right.
Yeah.
But we see him.
God. And the fans love him too. It's like crazy. The response that we get from, like, a really, like, meaty Danny Nucci scene, or when Kerr Smith is on. Like, it's all these, like, the dads.
Kerr Smith.
They, like, love it.
We
eat it up.
or a Brandon Quinn scene.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, it's all pretty crazy. I know.
Do me a favor, make sure he doesn't have a beard next time because I can't watch it like that. It just looks so good. It looks so good.
I did not know where you were going with
I just
that.
can't. No,
yeah.
not that he didn't know because it looks perfect.
We just have a
And I'm
brigade of hot
like,
dads. It's true.
Yes.
It's true. They have to be hot to compete with our unbelievably gorgeous, kind, centered, intelligent, brilliant mothers.
Sexy
So,
as hell too.
Yeah.
Please, you guys, you got a good looking bunch.
we do.
Yes.
I know. It's
They
and by the way,
know.
I mean they don't look. Thank God they don't look ridiculous and like over processed and over made up and all of that stuff. They look like real people, but they are the most gorgeous real people you'll ever see. It's like the Benetton of families, the Benetton billboard of families.
And they can act. Damn.
I know.
It's crazy.
Right?
It's crazy. We're so
really
lucky.
is,
We're so
seriously.
lucky. And they're all really good people. I mean, that's the best thing about it is they're good, kind, grounded people. They're connected to what the stories we're telling. They're there, you know, partially because they believe in sort of the message of the show. It's such a privilege.
I love that. We have to let you go very, very
That was a
shortly.
great note then.
I know. Thank you for
It
joining us.
was.
Was there anything from Twitter before we send him on his way?
A lot of people are wondering if the Brandon and Callie song is going to be released on iTunes.
Not that I know of. I don't think so. But maybe. I'll see. I'll get into it.
Well, the
I'll get
fan
into it.
response has been insane, so
Yes.
maybe something to consider.
Great Big World gave us a nice big shout out before the episode too. They were so excited we used the song, which and I love them. So I was all
When they said that, I said, "Are they duetting with Say Something?"
Oh,
no,
um,
but almost.
Yeah, I was like,
a couple people are asking if we're gonna see Kyle again.
I don't want to say.
Okay.
I don't want to say.
Okay.
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 There's more. I mean, you know, there's more to every story. It ain't
Exactly.
nothing's over yet.
Yeah.
So
He can't get that tattoo removed though.
He can actually. Just 6
Yeah.
months late.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Jesus
It'll take
did.
a while.
He can't.
Oh
be-
yeah.
Oh yeah! Oh my God!
ow.
The layers of this show. I have like the worst memory, so it doesn't help. But
Oh my god.
God.
If people want to continue the conversation, should we send them to your Twitter?
yeah, send it on my Twitter
You're at the.
at the Peter Paige.
Oh my
Yes.
god. Well, thank you for joining us.
And
It's
by
been
the
so
way,
much fun.
there's somebody on Insta who's not me that's at the real Peter Paige.
He's not.
Ironically, it is not the real Peter Paige. So if you're following, go report him.
Go report him.
Oh.
We're gonna report
why
him.
you gotta you do you, babe? You do you. You don't want to be this. Trust me. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your love and
Thank
support
you.
of the show.
Of
It means a lot to all of us.
Of course. And we are back July 11th. I believe
July
that's the
11th.
premiere date. Oh my God.
It's going to be a good one, I promise.
Oh,
Can't
God.
wait.
Steph, where can people find you?
You can all find me on Twitter at Stephanie Giorgi and on Instagram at the Stephanie Giorgi.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jillian Leff.
Y'all can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Hotshot Dude.
And I'm on Twitter at Jeff Masters1. That's also my birth name. We'll see you in July. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.